very warm welcome to As You Are podcast with myself, Lisa Bullion, and the lovely Whit Stewart. How are you today, Whit?
I'm good. I'm good.
Are you feeling playful?
Yeah, actually I am. You know what? I don't often spend time on social media, but recently some really funny social media clips have come up, many shared by you to me, which have just fucking cracked me up. And actually, I did go through your stories today, Lisa, too. And I was just like one after another. I was just like, fuck yeah, that's so funny. Lisa, you're so funny. Um,
That is hilarious because for a very long time I was not funny, and so much so that one day I must have said something funny, and one of my children said to me, "Mum, you're actually quite funny," and I thought that means that I'm often not. So yeah, now that I've grown up a little bit, I've become more playful.
that's what we're talking about today. Play.
Indeed. We are talking about play today. And coincidentally, I have had play as a theme for the whole of May, and I'm going into June, and I think I'm just going to have it a theme for the rest of my life. So I do write, I have a publication membership space where I write called Flucking Flourishing, as many listeners might know. And if you don't, check it out because it's all about play. And what I have realized is that setting the intention to focus on play has meant that play shows up all the time in my life in small ways. So it has been a beautiful thing.
Um, that is an amazing start. I believe heavily in intention, but I did talk to you about this conversation, and I was like, Lisa, can you teach me about play? Because I don't think I consider myself a very playful person in general. I also was labeled as a young child as being like sort of the serious one. I remember being grumpy a lot because I didn't think things that were going on in my family were like okay. I didn't find the play. It was often drunken from adults. Like that was like when people were like having fun. So I didn't find it playful. I didn't understand. I like wasn't okay with things. My sister was always like, come on, loosen up. Everyone was always like, loosen up. So that just pissed me off more, basically.
Yeah, and from listening to that, I can see that play for you was unsafe. It felt unsafe for you. And of course, play can go too far and it can feel unsafe. And I think as children, we often experience that. We have that one relative where they just take play too far and you're terrified. I had that one uncle. He used to throw me in the air and I'd hit the lampshade a couple of times. Like it was terrifying. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And that in that sense, that's when play gets taken too far. And I think for some of us, if you kind of think about play and being playful, it's a little bit terrifying because you feel like maybe you're not in control. But of course, it doesn't have to feel like that, and it can be whatever you want it to be. For me, it has shown up in just being lighter, approaching everything in a lighter way. I mean, I've had some heavy times in my life. I've had some really horrible shit. And there was a 5-year period where I had to play games. It was about distraction from when my child was ill, and distracting them from with an eating disorder. So it was about distracting them using play. And I played probably thousands of games of Yahtzee, and I have never played Yahtzee since because it's just like a heavy
Dramatic.
burden, this sort of manic play, so that we're just and card games and so on. And I've never kind of enjoyed card games. We had a lot of board games with my kids, and but play became a kind of a burden. So for me now to reconnect with play and being playful, it's been really amazing, really enlightening, and I feel lighter. I laugh more easily, and I'm not taking everything so seriously, which is beautiful.
Oh, just sounds like fucking awesome. I just got like, ah.
Yeah, yeah.
I always, with board games and such, it always felt so forced to me. I always hated games. I still hate playing games.
Mm.
They don't feel like fun to me. So
And
tell me, go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, no, I was just about to say, like, I'm not a massive board game player either. My family, my wider family, we have had times where we've played board games and there'll be like 15 of us and we will be crying laughing. Like things like Balderdash and where you play in groups and it's just hysterical. But games like in that sense, playing games um it's not necessarily something that I would gravitate towards. And my showing up in a more playful way doesn't include board games. I still don't play board games. We don't own any. I left them all in my other life. My ex-husband has them all. Hopefully my kids have some of them. But what I've been doing is it was setting the intention. And like you said, Wit, you can set and be intentional, and it can show up in ways that you're not expecting. So I've had themes every month all year, and May was about play. It rhymes. It's nice. And also for me, seasonally speaking, it's like spring. So you're kind of opening up and maybe you want to play because you've been locked inside for about 5 months. So so I set that intention of it's going to be play in May. And little by little, every day I was thinking about play and I was writing about play. And by the end of May, I was like, this is really amazing. It's changed my life. What I noticed is that I rocked up to school. I had a month. I'm a relief teacher, amongst other things. But I had a month in a grade 6 class with some pretty challenging boys. And what I found is that I was arriving in that class much lighter and letting things go and not getting so caught up in the minutiae of what I was teaching. And because part of life, I think, is not taking things so seriously. Why should a grade 6 be worried about one test that they're doing in grade 6? It doesn't matter. If you look at the big picture, it doesn't matter. And perhaps feeling lighter and taking everything a little less seriously means that we can move through the world in a different way and see the world for what it is, which is full of magic and beauty and joy. And if we're focusing and being too serious, then we can miss out on that. And I think it needs to start with children. And we're maybe putting way too much pressure on them way too early, getting way too serious and forgetting that it can be fun. So that is kind of how it started to show up. And then I realized, wow, everyone here is so serious. Like all the teachers were a bit stressed. And I noticed I was laughing more and people were gravitating towards me and talking to me when they'd never spoken to me before. I've been teaching at that school for like 5 years on and off, and the cleaners even started talking to me. It's been really fascinating. I'm lighter and laugh more with my husband. We muck around and have fun together. And my dad has just been here for a stay and we had a really nice time. It was just light and beautiful. And I really think it started with that setting the intention of being playful, focusing on play and where does it show up in my life.
Sounds damn good.
I found a statistic, and I don't know if it's true or not, but that kids laugh 300 times a day, and it goes down to about 15 to 20 times by the time we're adults.
Gosh, and I wonder if I laugh 15 to 20 times a day. I mean, when I'm talking to you, but
Yeah.
I don't talk to you every day, Lisa.
Yeah, yeah.
And Yeah, I wonder because I bet it's not abnormal either for kids to for it to be trained out of them. Well, as you were just saying, it's like the
Mhm.
school system makes things so serious so young. Um, Over here in the UK, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Mm.
I honestly just think they should be playing kids. But
Yeah.
when you have been, when it's been like sort of like, you've been taught otherwise from a really young age, like I look back at my childhood and I'm like, I don't remember playing really. Like, I mean, yes, I played and things like that. But as a person, I just want more instructions, basically, Lisa.
Yeah.
So as a
Yeah.
person who maybe doesn't even have like lots of fond memories of playing as a kid, never
Mhm.
really felt playful, was always told that I wasn't playful,
Mhm.
and then am now an adult
Mm.
trying to introduce it into my life. So
Yeah.
set an intention, give me
Set an
some
intention.
instructions.
And then look at how you can make everyday things more playful. So there are processes that you have to do in your life. You have to get kids ready for school. I don't have to do that anymore, but I did work at a childcare centre, which for a period of time while I've been here, I've had so many different jobs. It's crazy. But being a teacher, it was really nice. I never thought I would work with little kids, and I started getting the winter clothes on. I mean, it's not easy wrangling 10 small children, putting their winter clothes on for them to go outside when they're like between 1 and 3. And it was like having 10 children yourself. And so I was rolling around on the floor with them and trying to and it was having fun. And no, we didn't have time constraints. But I will also say that does it really matter if you're late to school because you're having fun with your children? And if a school has an issue with that, I think you really need to have a good talk to the school or find another school. I mean, that's not always possible, but I've really, as an educator, I would much rather that the kid comes to school, arrives in a positive way, rather than being yelled at and having that stress of getting ready. Because I know that is a thing that can really stress parents out in the morning. I know because I have done it myself with my children. So how can those kinds of things, how can you be more playful? And would it make things easier? Would it make the process easier? It might. Experiment. And that's part of play too. Um, can you be playful washing the dishes? Can you be playful, think about something fun or funny or light when you are folding the sheets or the washing, whatever it is you're folding? All of those things that we do. I mean, being mindful too can be useful in that sense, but it's being mindful with a lightness that you're able to bring some kind of play to it.
Mhm.
And that's also something I've been doing. Talk to my plants when I water them. Tell them how beautiful they are as I'm wiping the dust off them, and laughing more. I've realized that I spent a really long time not laughing, and I had very good reason to not laugh. And that and that was circumstance, and I understand that people can be in that space. The things that probably turned up for me that were playful, we actually ended up getting a cat, like a pet. They're playful. You're in the moment with a pet. Um, and it was things like I'd send funny messages to a group of friends. I mean, I'm really good, as you said, I'm really good at sending funny reels, and I have cried laughing with some reels, and I do have some friends. We have themes, um, and so I'm constantly to some friends sending a particular themed reel. I quite like swearing, so anything to do with swearing is one of my friends.
Luckily, we have this in common,
We
Lisa.
do have that in common. And so the playing and the laughter, if it's sitting on your phone watching ridiculous reels and making the algorithm go completely unhinged where it just keeps popping up more and more ridiculous things, then give it a go.
I'm going the right direction with my algorithm.
Yeah.
I could tell by
Yeah.
today because I was like, that's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I was like, that is so funny.
It is. And I mean, I have had literal tears pouring down my face and like stomach hurting because I'm laughing so much. In fact, a few times I'm sure my husband was like, what in the fuck are you doing? And I'm just like shaking with laughter. But you feel so amazing and it becomes a little bit addictive, and then I'm seeking out being more playful. I do a little dance. Dancing is good. I might dance into a room, um, pop out from behind the door frame and surprise my husband.
Do you scare the shit out of him?
No, I don't scare him, but he wears quite thick glasses, and so his peripheral vision isn't very good. So I might just like sneak up and go hello in front of his face, which I think he's probably just like, what is wrong with you? Where is that other woman that I married? No, he does appreciate it, and I think he's noticed it too. That I'm lighter. I feel lighter, and not watching the news is something. So I've gotten rid of all that stuff that can just weigh us down. And it reminds me of that. You have your circle of control, and then you have like this circle of concern, and focus on what you can control, which is how I'm responding to the world. And that whole focus of outside of concern, it's like, well, if I take all of that on board, all of the stuff that's happening, I have no control over any of it that's happening in the world. But I can stop engaging with it. I hear about everything anyway. I don't have to directly read any of it. I don't watch the news. I don't read the news, but I know what is going on. I mean, that is, you can't help it. So it's not like I'm putting my head in the sand and ignoring everything that's going on. I have only one beautiful life, and I'm choosing to find more joy and be playful in it.
So you can also spread that to others.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I came across something that I thought was really, it's Arundhati Roy, the author. Our strategy should be not only to confront empire, but to lay siege to it, to deprive it of oxygen, to shame it, to mock it with our art, our music, our literature, our stubbornness, our joy, our brilliance, our sheer relentlessness, and our ability to tell our own stories that are different from the ones we're being brainwashed to believe. And the whole idea of being playful, it goes against everything. People are telling us to be serious and listen to these people who really, they don't deserve the airtime and they don't deserve our attention. There are far better things to be spending our time and attention on, like being more playful, like getting out in nature and having fun. Life is incredibly short and precious in the whole scheme of history and and the universe, if you want to put it in big context.
Well, and also in, finding play and finding fun in one's life as a grown-up, I think it also takes, well, for like, this is what I've been expressing over the course of this like podcast, is like, it takes me getting to know myself in a different way, right? Because I actually have a real resistance, and like beyond resistance, I actually get so emotionally like turned off by like what we deem as fun in our culture, because I find it incredibly limited, linear. I don't, even as a parent, I see other parents going to do things with their kids, and I'm like, but that looks like it is hell for you. Why would you go do something like that? Can't you choose something that is enjoyable for you and your kids? Like finding the overlap there. But all of it, like finding play and finding fun, is like, it is sort of getting to know ourselves on a different level. It is tuning in. It is like, noticing our reactions, our genuine reactions to things. It's all of those important things about going toward the light. Like, what makes you feel light? What makes you feel joyful? What is actually fun to you? Not what you've been told is fun or should be fun.
Because I completely agree. And it's often the really simple things. It's very often simple things. I'm just remembering back to when I used to live in Adelaide. I lived on a road that had a creek at the end of it. Now, the creek only ran during certain months of the year because in summer it was dry. But once it had rained through winter, usually in the spring it was running, and it was a shallow creek. You could wade into it. I mean, it was pretty cold, but my son and his friend, they must have been around maybe 8, and I got them gumboots, and it was a sunny day, and his friend was staying over, and I said, well, let's go down to the creek. And it was fascinating because there was rocks and stuff, and you could play in the rocks, and I was watching them, and they were looking at me, and I said, look, do what you want to do. Go in as far, and they went in as far as they could. And I mean, they could stand up. It wasn't deep, and it wasn't particularly wide either, but it covered their gumboots, and the gumboots were full of water. And I was like, look, home is just down there. Go nuts. And they had the best time. And I felt so much joy whilst I wasn't in there with them. It was a playful moment. I took some beautiful photos, but it was just more me being with them. Watching them play was a playful moment for me at a period of time where I wasn't feeling super playful. So it doesn't have to be that you're involved. You can facilitate it as a parent. And I spent a lot of time at parks watching my kids play and inventing their own games and having fun, going to the beach. We would go camping as well. But I mean, that's another whole layer of responsibility when you're putting up tents and supplying all of the food and all of that.
That's why I'm like, God, do I have to? Is that
Yeah,
have
exactly.
fun and play?
Yeah,
And
and no, you don't.
No.
You don't have to do that. I mean, I did it because I do enjoy that. But if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. I mean, maybe your kids can experience camping with somebody else, but those things that bring lightness to you and your family if you have kids at home, and it is different when they leave home. We don't have kids at home anymore, and so you're reevaluating. We're reevaluating. It's a different stage of life. What is it that makes you light up, and what does play mean? And so it's changes again because you haven't got the kids there to ignite that and maybe help facilitate that. And so I don't watch comedies. I'm not a massive fan of comedy. I'm a massive crime show person. I watch everything that's not funny. But the reels for me, watching funny reels has been really fun. They're just short and stopping scrolling, and I think checking in with myself, not so that I'm recognizing, okay, I have this heavy feeling, and how can I disperse that? And so it might be putting on some music and having a little dance. And so I'm kind of using play as a way to get rid of maybe some of that heavy energy, sticky energy. I have a range of practices, but play was never one of those, and now it is. So that's really nice too. Giving yourself permission to play and be playful.
And to be, like you said, to like show up in situations where other people are not playful, and to bring that into environments like school.
Yeah.
Because also emotions are like super contagious. And so right now we live in a world that's like incredibly stressed out, like concerned, like taking everything super seriously. And yeah, there are terrible things happening, but there are a lot of incredibly wonderful things happening in
there are.
And the way you show up in spaces really affects the people around you. It's like when I see like, a couple women like laughing hysterically on the tube or something, like crying, they're laughing so hard, and you can't help but smile and like, almost join in.
Yeah.
That's super contagious, but it's also super contagious when someone's even like, on the tube and is totally stressed out, and you can feel the energy, like sort of like
definitely
from them. So that just, I'm just saying that in like stressing the importance that we figure out how to play and have fun and what it means to us, and do it genuinely, and whether that's watching someone else like participating or us participating ourselves.
Yeah. And I think there's no rules to it. Like, you make up the rules. As you say, and I say it to myself all the time now, you are the director of your life.
Yeah.
So you can direct it in however you want. And it's so important to remember that. It's something that I say to myself every day. I'm the director of my life. I choose how I show up. I can choose not to feel the weight. And I have felt the weight of many different things. And it doesn't mean that I won't not feel it again. But it's just coincided with a period of time where setting the intention to be more playful, it just then shows up. It really does.
And it can show up with other emotions. Like, they don't have to
Exactly.
operate independently, right? We
Exactly.
don't have to be having like either like having fun or we're having a really
Yeah,
hard time. It's like, well,
exactly.
could maybe also look for lightness in
Yeah,
just the day to day, even if you're
that's
not having the easiest time, and it will
yeah.
make it easier.
Mm,
Yeah. I think also, even when you said like, you have the choice. Yeah, I think a lot of people, I had like a physical reaction
mm,
because I believe that a lot of us were raised to not make a lot of noise, to not be rowdy, to not be, to like not do this, not do that, not do that, not do that. No, 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 that doesn't work. No, like, so
mhm.
basically, like it does feel a little bit like we need some permission to
Yeah.
be playful and play and have fun and to not like sit quietly in a room.
And it doesn't need to be noisy. I've done things like, I'm just remembering the fun things I've done.
Mm.
So I went away for a weekend and I left little love notes to my husband stuck everywhere. So it was like in his sock drawer or when he brushed his teeth, and it was just like different little notes in the fridge. And he was message me. I just found another one. It was like he loved it. He
Oh, I
thought it was
love it.
the best thing ever. It was just really cute. And so playfulness can show up like that. That's quite quiet and really quite sweet, I think. So it doesn't have to be. I think we maybe need to reconsider what it is. What is playfulness to yourself? How does that show up? And can you have different ideas of what being playful is? It doesn't have to be loud. It can be soft and gentle and still a little bit funny. I mean, I am one too, I must say, to send little bubblehead videos. I do love those. I think on WhatsApp you can send them now, but I like pop in and send them to my friends. Of me, I don't know, pulling faces. My husband, I'm becoming more aware that I do show everything on my face. So that's also can be quite playful. I didn't know until I started like doing more videos and I'm like, oh my God, look at my face. And so I can also laugh at myself.
Well, we also have that. Let's show it.
Yeah, we do.
It's outside my control.
It is. I know. I'm like, oh, do I really look like that? Like, it's just everything shows. Yeah.
Yeah, I think too, I find that when it comes to like playfulness and lightness, I'm often surprised by it. Like
Mhm.
I feel like it's not something that I consciously do. And so like I will suddenly go into the other room, my son will be there and I'll be really goofy. But it almost feels like it is this burst of energy that happens and then it's like over. And sometimes my kids, it's not always over super quickly, but sometimes it is. And so my kids will like kind of go like, "Oh, mom's in a playful mood." And so they'll like join in and then they take
And then it's
like
over.
a really loud, crazy level. And then I'm like, peace out, too much. No, 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 no. Like, please, please.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah. I mean, it is. Kids are like your Labrador puppies. And yeah, with a teacher, you have to be really careful about how much play you have. It's like play with boundaries. And perhaps as a parent, you need to do that too. And it depends on, I guess, the kind of play and how you're showing up, because the physical play that can get like full on. And I don't know that I was like that so much as a parent. I was married to someone who the physicality of the funniness was his thing more than anything. Um, but I did show up in other ways and with creativity and making things and cooking. And I did have a thing with mess. I think I sort of regret that I it was such a sort of, but I found it really anxiety inducing, and I realized that was because I perhaps didn't have the practices I needed to kind of calm my nervous system, and having everything neat and tidy was really important. I still have everything neat and tidy. I'm just married to someone who also values that, which
I
makes it.
also love that. But that's something I'm trying to unwind a bit, because I
Yeah.
realized how often I
Yeah.
was told as a child that we couldn't make a mess. So then we didn't play in that way. We weren't allowed to make mistakes in that way and make a mess and try things out and experiment. And that is so limiting. There's so much
Yeah.
that's lost when you can't do that. And so I am really aware with my kids, though it is certainly a work in progress of
Yeah.
the need to be able for them to make a mess.
Yeah.
And that is a part of play sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Yeah, and that we're carrying those stories and those things that have happened in the past, and we have a choice of how we move forward in the future, and or how we respond to our children, and allowing them not to necessarily be burdened by the stuff that we have carried. But it's also about being kind to yourself, that you're learning a lot about yourself as you're parenting. I mean, my kids are in their 20s now, and I probably yelled too often, and I did things, I was far from perfect, but we're not going for perfection. My kids are amazing humans, and that's really, I think, the goal is to create amazing humans who can be playful, and they are. I mean, they both love Pokemon, especially my eldest, still in their 20s. It's beautiful. Playful. They love playing games on video games. I don't know. That's fun for some people. It's not for me. But yeah, if they can be playful adults, I think that's awesome.
yeah, definitely. And the thing is, as parents, we're parents for our lifetime.
Mm.
So you're still teaching them.
Mm.
And you are
Yeah.
experimenting with play and writing about play and
Mm-hmm.
being a role model in that realm for other people, but also for them still.
Yeah,
They're still learning from you,
exactly.
even
Yeah.
though they're not around you all the time.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is, like you said, it is contagious in the most beautiful way.
And we need more things like that. We
We
need
do.
more positive contagion. We need more you know, like we need to put our energy into the things that really light us up, because it does spread, and we need
It does.
so much more of that.
All the beautiful creativity and art and beauty and fun and magic that exists.
Yeah, because there's just as much of that, actually a lot more of that than the other
There is.
side.
Yeah, there's a lot we can't control, but we can choose to. If we're going to consume and not create, we're consuming amazing, magical, positive things that make us want to live in this beautiful, magical world that we have. And if we choose to create, hopefully that will then encourage us to create beautiful, magical, amazing things.
And also we brought up, but talking about kids, or you sharing with friends, and it's so much about connection as well.
It is. Yeah.
Playfulness.
Yeah.
It's connecting, really connecting with people. That's often when it's that is it at its best, right?
That's right. Play can involve a whole community.
So any final words, Lisa, of final teachings you can pass to me, audience?
Let's see. What am I gonna say?
Just wondering if you have other key points.
Yeah, I think setting the intention. Start with that. Start with setting the intention of being more playful, and see where that takes you. Wake up every day. What can I make more playful? How can I exist in the world with a more playful outlook? See what happens.
I love it. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It's been a pleasure. We will see you next time on As You Are.